Number 1, the law of no defense. Listen carefully because what I'm about to tell you will feel unnatural, even dangerous. Yet it is the hidden rule Machiavelli used to see through kings, crush rivals, and walk through political storms without a single scar. The weak defend themselves. The powerful never do. When you defend yourself, you submit to someone else's frame. You admit their accusation has weight. You confess that their words can touch you, that their attack deserves your energy. And the moment you explain yourself, justify yourself, or try to prove your innocence, you hand them something far more valuable than the truth. You hand them your power. Remember this. Power is not lost in battles. It is lost in reactions. Your enemy doesn't need to defeat you. He needs you to respond. That's why Machiavelli understood a brutal psychological fact. Silence is a verdict, and the one who refuses to explain himself becomes the one others fear to accuse. When you do not defend, you become unpredictable. When you do not justify, you become untouchable. Your calmness, your refusal to react, your cold indifference, it attacks their mind far more violently than any argument could, because nothing terrifies the human ego more than being ignored. So from this day forward, stop explaining your intentions to people who don't deserve clarity. Stop giving emotional discounts to those who question your motives. Stop letting insecure minds pull you into their small battles. The moment you rise above the noise becomes afraid of you. Adopt this rule like a weapon. Never defend, never justify, never kneel to someone else's narrative. You are not here to be understood. You are here to be respected or feared, and both are earned the same way, by never reacting when they expect you to break. If you're ready for the next step, tell me to continue to number 2. And before we go deeper into the darker psychology behind this law, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Number 2, the frame war. Understand this. Every confrontation is a frame war, and the one who controls the frame controls the reality. When someone accuses you, challenges you, or tries to provoke you, they aren't attacking your actions. They're attacking your position in the psychological hierarchy. They want you to react. They want you to explain. They want you to step inside where they're me in a frame, because the moment you do, they own you. Machiavelli knew this centuries ago. The battlefield is rarely physical. It is the mind of the opponent, and the first to react is the first to lose. When you defend yourself, you voluntarily walk into the cage they built for you. You accept their premise. You play their game. And that is why powerful men never explain themselves. They impose their presence. They project certainty. They stay rooted like stone while others tremble, trying to interpret their silence. You must learn this. A calm man who refuses to answer is far more intimidating than a loud man who fights every accusation. Coldness is a weapon. Silence is an attack. Indifference is dominance. When someone confronts you with hostility, your job is not to fight the fire. It is to starve the fire of oxygen. Hold eye contact. Breathe slowly. Let the tension build around you until they drown in it. People crumble under their own emotional weight long before you ever need to raise your voice. This is how kings dealt with challenges without lifting swords. This is how modern power operates. Quiet, invisible, psychological. The powerful don't react because reactions belong to the controlled, not the controller. Master this, and your presence alone will bend rooms. If you want the next layer, the one where this rule becomes dangerous, say, continue to number 3, and remember to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Number 3, you're turning accusation into advantage. Here's the twisted beauty of never defending yourself. Every accusation becomes fuel for your power instead of a threat to it. Ordinary people panic when their reputation is touched. Powerful people see it as a chance to demonstrate psychological superiority. When someone attacks you, they're expecting pushback, anger, denial, frantic explanations. And when none of that comes, their mind fractures. They begin questioning themselves. Did I misjudge him? Why isn't he reacting? Why is he so calm? What does he know that I don't? Your silence becomes a mirror that reflects their insecurity back onto them. Machiavelli understood this game better than anyone. By refusing to explain himself, He turned every rumor into a weapon that worked for him, not against him. People began fearing the man who didn't fear what others said. When you do not defend, something dark happens in the minds of those watching. They start to suspect you hold deeper power, because only the weak rush to protect their name. The strong let the world talk while they move in silence. You must learn to weaponize this dynamic. Let your enemies speak, because every word they say without your reaction makes them look desperate. Let them accuse, because the more noise they make, the more composed you look. And let the crowd watch, because observers always side with the one who looks emotionally unshaken. This is how you flip accusations. Turn their attack into a public demonstration of your control. Turn their noise into your silence. Turn their insecurity into your mystique. Your refusal to defend yourself doesn't just neutralize their attack, it reverses it. You become the storm they can't read and the mountain they can't move. If you're ready to step into the darker side of this rule, say, continue to number 4. And remember to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Number 4, the cold psychology of detachment. Detachment is the spine of power. Without it, every insult becomes a wound, and every accusation becomes a chain around your neck. But when you detach, truly detach, you stop bleeding for things beneath you. Machiavelli understood a brutal truth. People only control you through the emotions you refuse to control in yourself. If they can trigger your anger, they own you. If they can make you explain yourself, they frame you. If they can pull you into their chaos, you've surrendered your position. So you must cultivate a cold, masculine stillness. The kind that absorbs attack without bending. The kind that looks into the eyes of accusation and doesn't blink. This is not apathy. It is strategic emotional discipline. The weak think silence means you have no answer. The powerful know silence is the answer. When you detach, you create psychological distance, and distance is where dominance grows. You become harder to read, harder to provoke, harder to influence. People fear what they cannot predict. They respect what they cannot shake, and they submit to what they cannot emotionally move. Your detachment makes them doubt their own aggression. It makes them retreat into themselves. It kills their momentum. This is why explaining yourself is a trap, because explanation comes from insecurity, but silence comes from certainty. Cold detachment tells the world, I don't need your approval. I don't need your understanding. I don't need your validation. And that terrifies them, because nothing is more threatening than a man who doesn't seek permission to exist. So from now on, you do not react. You observe. You do not justify. You decide. You do not chase clarity. You impose presence. This is how untouchable men are made. If you're ready to enter the ruthless tactics that make this rule unstoppable, say, continue to number 5. And remember to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Number 5, the power of controlled ambiguity. If there is one psychological weapon that terrifies the world more than anger, more than authority, more than force, it is ambiguity. Controlled ambiguity is the art of saying nothing while implying everything. It is the silence that forces people to create their own explanations, their own fears, their own stories about you. And here's the Machiavellian truth. The story they invent is always more powerful, more intimidating than anything you could say. When you refuse to defend yourself, you don't just avoid their frame. You make them unsure of reality itself. You strip away their certainty. You throw them into a mental fog. And inside that fog, you become larger, darker, more unpredictable. People fear the unknown far more than they fear the known. So give them nothing clear to hold on to. Let your expressions be unreadable. Let your words be minimal. Let your actions speak louder than your explanations ever could. Ambiguity is not weakness. It is controlled mystery. And mystery builds authority because uncertainty breeds respect. The one who cannot be understood becomes the one who must be watched. The one who doesn't explain becomes the one who must be interpreted. And every attempt to interpret you increases your psychological gravity. This is why kings walk slowly, why leaders speak sparingly, why powerful men do not rush to defend. They let the world fill in the silence with whatever narrative their own mind creates. And the human mind, when uncertain, always assumes the person before it is stronger than they appear. That is your advantage. That is your shield. When you master ambiguity, you master perception. And when you master perception, you master power itself. If you want to go deeper into the strategies that make people psychologically obedient, say, continue to number 6. And remember to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Number 6 was how silence forces obedience. Silence is not the absence of words. It is the presence of power. Weak men talk to survive. Powerful men make others talk themselves into submission. When you stay silent in the face of accusation, confrontation, or manipulation, you create a pressure that the other person is not built to handle. Humans are wired to fill silence with justification, apology, explanation, anything to escape the discomfort. But when you refuse to speak, you flip the psychological burden onto them. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. The one who speaks first loses ground, and the one who stays silent forces the opponent to reveal their intentions, their fears, their desperation. Your silence becomes a throne they cannot sit on. It positions you above the emotional chaos, above the noise, above their attempts to pull you down into their world. And something strange happens. People start over-explaining their own actions to you. They start softening their accusations. They start second-guessing their hostility. Because your silence implies superiority, and superiority demands their obedience. When you don't defend yourself, they subconsciously assume you know something they don't, that you hold leverage, that you're too powerful to be touched by their words. This is not arrogance, it's control. Your stillness breaks their rhythm. Your calmness destabilizes their confidence. Your refusal to react becomes a dominance display stronger than any argument. Understand this. Power is not proven by how loudly you speak, but by how little you need to. Silence is the language of those who command respect without requesting it. And the more you master it, the more others will shape their behavior to avoid your disapproval. If you want to unlock the next layer, the tactics that make you the psychological center of every room, say, continue to number 7. And remember to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Number 7. Becoming the psychological center of gravity. Powerful men don't chase attention. They pull it. They don't demand respect. They become the reference point others measure themselves against. And the moment you stop defending yourself, you begin shifting into this role, the psychological center of gravity. This is the person everyone watches, everyone reacts to, everyone quietly adjusts themselves around. Machiavelli understood this deeply. Control isn't about barking orders. It's about cultivating a presence so strong that others instinctively align with it. When you move with calm certainty, people feel it. When you remain unshaken by accusation, they study you. When you speak rarely, your words gain weight. This is gravitational power, the kind that bends the emotional atmosphere of a room without you ever raising your voice. You become the anchor, the axis, the still point. Others orbit around you without even noticing that they've surrendered their momentum. And here is the dark psychological truth. The one who never defends himself signals that he does not need the approval of the group. Yet the group still seeks his. You shift from being one of many to being the one they seek cues from. They watch your reactions, your silence, your posture. They anticipate your opinion before you express it. You become a quiet force that others calibrate their behavior around. And when someone tries to challenge you, your refusal to justify yourself turns the crowd against the challenger, because nothing looks weaker than someone trying to fight a man who won't even step into the ring. This is how leaders emerge without declaring themselves leaders. This is how dominance forms without aggression. This is how you become the psychological center of gravity, by being the one who does not react. If you're ready for the next step, the tactic that makes your enemies fear you, without you ever lifting a finger, say, continue to number 8. And remember to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Number 8. The fear you create without saying a word. Fear is most powerful when it has no clear shape, no clear source, no clear boundary. And by never defending yourself, you become that shapeless force in the minds of others. Machiavelli knew that the most frightening enemy is the one who doesn't reveal what he's thinking, doesn't show what he's planning, and doesn't react the way normal men do. When someone attacks you and you remain calm, utterly unmoved, they don't interpret it as weakness. Their mind races to darker conclusions. Why isn't he responding? Did he expect this? Did I make a mistake? Does he know something about me? Is he planning something? Their imagination becomes your soldier, fighting battles on your behalf. And imagination is always more terrifying than truth. This is how you plant psychological fear without lifting a finger. A man who overreacts looks fragile. A man who argues looks cornered. But a man who stands still, who looks the attack dead in the eye and gives nothing, looks dangerous. Your silence becomes a threat without you ever issuing one. Your lack of defense becomes a demonstration of power. They begin to treat you differently. They watch their words around you. They hesitate before crossing you. They lower their voice in your presence. Because the person who reveals nothing can do anything. The fear you create is subtle, silent, and completely deniable. But it is real, and it grows each time you refuse to explain yourself. This is the psychology of untouchability. You don't dominate people through aggression. You dominate them through uncertainty, through calmness, through restraint, through the invisible question you plant in their mind. What is he capable of? If you're ready for Section 9, where we turn this fear into long-term respect and unshakable authority, say, continue to number 9. And remember to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Number 9, transforming fear into lasting authority. Fear alone is volatile. It burns fast and disappears. But when you combine fear with consistency, restraint, and a refusal to ever defend yourself, that fear hardens into something far more valuable. Authority. Not the loud kind, not the forced kind, the kind that settles into people's minds and stays there. Machiavelli understood that true authority doesn't come from titles or crowns. It comes from perception. And perception is shaped by how you handle pressure. When people witness you remaining unshaken under accusation, unmoved under disrespect, uninterested in defending yourself against petty attacks, they instinctively elevate you. They place you above themselves. Why? Because most people are slaves to their emotions. They respond to every insult. They chase every rumor. They explain themselves to anyone who questions them. But you do none of that. Your composure becomes a rare currency. Your silence becomes a standard others cannot match. And over time, fear begins to evolve. It becomes respect, then loyalty, then obedience. People trust those who are unshaken because consistency feels like safety, even when it's wrapped in coldness. They follow the man who doesn't flinch because they assume he sees further than they do. They defer to the man who doesn't explain himself because they assume he stands on truth, not opinion. They obey the man who stands still under fire because he looks like the only one who won't break. Authority is not taken. It is given by others when they realize they cannot destabilize you. When they see that you are beyond their emotional reach. When they finally accept that you are not operating on their level. And once they grant you that authority, it rarely disappears. If you're ready for the final layer, the conclusion that fuses everything into one Machiavellian code of power, say, continue to number 10. And remember to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Number 10. The Machiavellian Code of the Untouchable. This is the final truth, the principle all-powerful men eventually discover. You become untouchable not by winning every battle, but by refusing to fight the ones designed to weaken you. Defending yourself is submission disguised as strength. It tells the world that their opinion of you matters, that their accusations hold power, that you are accessible to their narratives. But the man who does not defend himself, the man who remains silent, composed, unbothered, becomes something else entirely. He becomes an enigma, a psychological fortress, a presence that cannot be manipulated because it cannot be emotionally reached. Machiavelli taught that perception is more valuable than truth, and the perception of an untouchable man is forged in restraint, not reaction. This is the code. Stay calm when others panic. Stay silent when others argue. Stay still when others flail. Stay indifferent when others beg for approval. You do not chase explanations. You do not justify your worth. You do not kneel before accusations built from insecurity. Let them misunderstand you. Let them speculate. Let them fear what you do not say. Every unanswered question becomes a blade in your hand. Every withheld reaction becomes armor around your name. Every refusal to defend becomes proof that your power is internal, not borrowed. Walk through the world with that cold, disciplined presence and watch how people step aside. Watch how they lower their tone. Watch how they rethink the idea of crossing you. Untouchable men are not loud. They are not emotional. They do not explain. They endure. They observe. They outlast. This is your new standard. This is your new identity. Carry it with silence, sharpen it with discipline, and let the world adjust itself around you. And before you go, remember to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications.